One of the reasons why I support Israel so much is because of my progressive values, because it's the only country in the Middle East that does not murder women for adultery by stoning or executes LGBTQ people. So to me, it's part of the reasons why I support it. And my second point I'd like to mention about the indigenous part, like who's indigenous. Well, to me, if you look at history, the Jews have been present in Israel for 4,000 years. So I believe we are the indigenous people, and the Palestinians and everybody else, they're natives. It's kind of like in Africa, there's white people who live in Africa since the 1600s. They're natives by now, but they're not indigenous to Africa. And based on all historical and archaeological evidence, the Jews were there for thousands of years, long before Palestinians, long before Arabs or Muslims even existed.
But what about the fact that they left, that they were kicked out by the Romans? Do they have a right then to come back and essentially claim the region for themselves? Or
I believe so. It's largely a debatable conversation, but the fact is they did it legally through the UN, through the international community.
Right.
Everybody voted for it. So you can't say they just went there and said they took the land, whatever land they wanted, because God gave them so.
Right. It was determined the same way that the other Arab countries, you mean, were set up?
Exactly. I mean, all the other Arab nations pretty much were created around the same time, like Jordan, Syria. Those borders did not exist prior to that. So, and to me, I think it's fair. I mean, there's 50 Arab Muslim countries or so, and only one little tiny Jewish state.
Okay. By the way, you say that you were from Israel, but your parents were from former Soviet Union?
Yeah, Ukraine.
So how did the Russian Revolution start, and what role did anti-Semitism play in it?
Well, anti-Semitism existed in Russia and the area of Ukraine for many years prior to the revolution. And in fact, my family, who lived there at the time, they were victims to pogroms. My great-grandparents were murdered when my great-grandma was 5 years old. Her sister was 3. They were hiding underneath the store in the storage or whatever, while the parents were getting murdered by a whole crowd. So,
but how did Trotsky, for example, how did they use anti-Semitism as their mean to galvanize power?
I think they convinced many people, including persecuted people such as Jews, that if they support their politics, they'll bring change to Russia. And I think many Jews fell for it, and for a while, maybe the communists did have a positive change, which unfortunately didn't last too long. Stalin came, and it was arguably just as bad as before.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much. I hope we gave you something.